D-A-N-C-I-T-Y, stand up, yeah, do it, get your hands in the sky. O-N-D-O-I-N-D, collective, it's the A-L-I-T-E, Van City, all boy, Van City, all boy, Van City, all boy. You know what song was on when I came on? I could give it to you, but what you gonna do with it? I'm gonna give it to you, but what you gonna do? I'm gonna give it to you, what you gonna do with it? I'm gonna give it to you, what?
You're way over people's heads right now. You're way over people's heads.
J.O. Felony.
J.O. Felony. I haven't heard that name in like 15 years.
Yo, tell him who he is, man.
Hip hop. It's the On Point Podcast, A-L-I-T-E, with the one and only Q-U-E-E-Z-I.
And the A-L-I-T-E.
Queezy, y'all.
And Elite.
Yo, so this has kind of been a really like exciting episode putting together.
Yeah.
Because we get to talk about something that I absolutely love, which is bar spitters, like real hip hop spitters. So what have you been playing on your playlist lately that's got you excited?
I just happen to have my phone here.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to go. And you'd be surprised, like if I go to my,
Are you telling us to spray paint?
That's pink spray paint, bro.
Okay, so basically what Mike is saying, interrupt what we're doing for a minute here.
Here, hold on. We're gonna get the prop. I'm gonna get the prop.
You see this panel right here? We got this big white panel here, and we really want to have some dope graffiti artists come through. Tag this thing up.
Yeah.
Potentially create like little South Park character versions of me, Mike, and Queez. And
potentially
put them up on the board. How dope would that look?
I think it would be dope. You could tag it up. This could say OPP, On Point Podcast, times whoever you is. Like, I don't know.
Have
Making
some
Subway
chronic
styles.
smoke in the air. And see, the thing is, because
we thought about it last show. Behind the scenes, we talked about it.
Yeah,
we'll bring this with us.
That's the only way.
We'll do it out on the street.
Yeah.
I know a perfect spot. We could fucking post up.
It's gonna be sick. It's gonna be sick. Because
Who's down?
But that's what the On Point Podcast is, right?
I think so, man. We'll take this shit on the street.
Elements, man. It's about hip hop.
And we'll go out in the elements.
In the elements with the hip hop elements.
Yes.
That's the only way.
In the elements, dropping the elements.
That's the only way. From the street, yo. From the street. That's pink. That's pink. I don't know if you'd have
Nothing
pink.
wrong with pink.
Yeah, if you make it look right.
Pink is anti-bully, the anti-bullying color. That's what pink is.
So what's on your playlist right now?
Let's see. Okay, I got.
That makes you excited about hip hop. That makes you feel good.
Well, I can't really like say, like every day is different, but quite a bit right now. You'd be surprised. So this artist named Seven.
Okay.
And he is from the States, and he is from what I know about him. So sometimes I don't even bother to go look up people, right? Because I just like them so much, and I just fucking get caught up in what they're saying, and I just start listening.
You just mess with them, yeah.
So this guy's Seven, and so I was working at this job recently, I got partnered up with this guy, and he was from Florida, and so he's been out here for a long time, and he's turned his life around, and he's into God, right? So he put me onto this guy Seven, because everybody that I meet, everybody that we meet, I'm sure that you tell them that, hey, I'm an artist, recording artist, hip hop artist, right? So that's I try to find a common thing with everybody. First, say, hey man, what kind of music you listen to? Like,
right,
listen to hip hop. Well, hey, or I don't even tell them I rap. I'm like, you rap? First, I always try to find out if they rap, because then maybe I don't want to say anything right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then. Anyways, puts me on to Seven, so I've been listening to this guy, and it's Christian rap, right?
Okay.
But oh man, like the words, the style, everything's like current, music styles, melodies, right? Beats, like all that kind of stuff. But just really impactful, moving stuff, right? But if I go through my playlist, I mean, I kind of have like pop stuff in here. Here's a song that I really like right now. It's called "What Color Is a Spade," and it's by Styx. Like Royce, SB, Megawatts, oops, I pressed play by accident. Hold on, I don't think they can get me.
No, that's too short.
I got some Juice WRLD in here, right?
Oh, okay.
I got actually a track by, this is way before, we're gonna talk about DMX later, but DMX, Regina Belle. It's called a track called Angel, right? a reminder, Jay-Z, right?
Right.
I got some The Weeknd in here. I have some pop, Post Malone and stuff, because I gotta
Oh,
also
wow.
think about what's in here when my kids are around and stuff too, right? So they
Right.
got the kind of the poppy radio stuff, right? But I don't really let them listen to that, but I listen to everything to stay kind of in the know what people talking
Of
about,
course.
what's popular, and because if I'm gonna be an artist and gonna talk about stuff, right, I need to know what everybody else kind of talking about. Right?
100%, 100%.
So I have all kinds of stuff, new stuff, old stuff.
Yeah.
I have playlists with if I go through that, it's like, all years, 80s, 90s, 2000
So much
mixed
hip-hop.
together, right? So
Yeah.
I always try to listen to everything. So that's a little taste of what I got going on
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, it's weird because right now it's just been straight R&B dominating my playlist.
Okay,
Dude, there's
like
a
what?
lot
Like
of
who?
Snow Allegra.
Okay, that's new stuff. Yeah.
Her.
And her.
Oof.
Oh yes, you know what? I saw a movie on Netflix, and her's in the movie. That was my first introduction to her.
Jeez,
and she's
that
got a
voice.
voice on her.
Oof.
Yeah. She sang like an old school cut. It was sick.
Yeah,
and
crazy good.
You were talking about some guy to me last week. He did a song with Justin Bieber, Danny Fernandez, or Caesar, Daniel Caesar. Yeah. So,
Great R&B music.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of new dope R&B, and it's crazy because a lot of the hip hop that's on my playlist right now is a lot of old school.
Okay.
A lot of old school.
Yeah.
Talib Kweli.
Oh, yeah.
Mos Def. A lot of Tribe. It's just kind of there's so much hip hop, so many generations of hip hop. I think I kind of fall into these vibes where I just listen to a certain kind of music all the time. Like I was talking to my kid today, who's 19. He's listening to a lot of Memphis rap right now.
Okay.
So 3 6 Mafia and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah.
I'm like, that's way before his time. But I think when you become like an audiophile, there's no generation of music you don't access.
No, exactly. I'll like reggae, rock and roll, pop, like 80s pop, like R&B,
Yeah.
like 70s, like all years. There's something like if you're a true music aficionado
Yeah.
or a fan appreciator, there's probably nothing that you wouldn't listen to. I mean, there are a few things that I choose not to listen to and stuff, right? But I've given it
Yeah.
a chance, right? I've
Yeah.
even gone to shows, right? Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, you're very open-minded.
punk or hard rock, like metal, right? Like, I've listened to everything, right?
Yeah, you're
So,
open-minded like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been in a couple of those rooms, man, and
Yeah.
it's head hurting.
And I carry a little bit piece with me, right?
Right.
Because you never know who's gonna be attracted to your style or your
Kind
music.
of builds
right?
your musical palette.
Exactly. Yeah, I bet if you go to half of the artist shows,
Mm-hmm.
like all the artist shows, I would always be surprised at like who would be there.
Yeah, for real. Yeah,
hip hop
yeah.
shows, you see all kinds of people.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I think it's I think what's been, man, I hate saying it, not really great, but over the years we've been to tons of hip hop shows.
Oh, hell yeah,
Tons.
man.
We've seen so many local artists.
Yep.
We've seen so many international artists.
Yep.
And one thing overall, man, so many times I've been disappointed leaving hip hop shows.
What do you mean? Tell me, man.
Okay, so artists I find a lot of time are unprepared when they're about to perform their material.
Okay.
I find they don't put the time in to build a stage show that actually is going to be cohesive
Yep.
and is together. Like over the years, we've seen a lot of people just get their feet on stage because they know somebody.
Yep.
And they don't have a pedigree. And they
Well,
don't
I know
have-
that firsthand, man.
Well,
Yeah.
because you promote these shows.
I was booked like how many shows did I do in like almost 2 years of booking, right?
Yeah,
and I worked with like
insane amount of
at
shows.
least 5 artists a show.
Yeah.
Okay, and so 25, 30 artists I work with, talk to, and
Crazy.
but that's just worked with.
Yeah.
That's not how many I actually talked to, spoke to, tried
Right.
to like get them to come out and
Yeah.
wanna, so I know and I saw how unprepared people are from like just the
Disappointed.
very kind of base layers of being an artist or wanting to be this person, right? So yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, over the years, we see people get on
Yep.
stage and dropping lyrics or,
Hell yeah, man.
not knowing which track is queued up or,
You ever drop lyrics before?
honestly, overall, I'm not trying to sound like an asshole,
Yeah.
but remember we used to do Abstract Cafe?
Yeah.
And I remember it was like my birthday night or something.
Okay.
And I got the whole place
Yeah.
to myself that night.
Yeah,
And I think,
yeah.
Rose, remember Rose?
Oh, yes, yeah.
She opened that night.
She was singing, right?
Yeah. She was singing.
Yeah.
And for the first time ever in my life, I got in my own head
Okay.
on stage. And I was doing Vanguard. And there was one piece of the verse that I just repeated from the first verse. I'm like, fuck.
Oh, and
I
you
was
repeated
so
it,
mad.
and you didn't do, but did you play it off?
Oh, I
you
totally
didn't-
played it
yeah,
off,
Yeah, yeah, because I'm
but-
remembering back. I was there
But I was mad as fuck.
after.
Oh, dude, because I'm meticulous about this shit, right?
Yeah,
I take this shit seriously. So when I get on stage, I want to make sure I hit every fucking bar, I hit every spot,
Yeah.
and making sure my breath is good and
Yeah.
clean. And when I don't see that same shit on stage, dude, it's so disappointing.
Oh hell yeah!
So
Check it out.
disappointing.
So I put mad pressure on myself to like. So I would be outside before my set. I would be disappeared, like
Oh, I've seen it.
headphones in,
I've seen
like
it.
pacing around. Rap
Yeah.
people would come, hey, I'm good, man. I'm
Yeah.
good. People want to check on me. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I'm just get. This was in the early days,
Oh,
right?
I remember it, man.
Yeah, and then behind that later on, as I became better and better and better, I did it more kind of behind the scenes. I was doing it while I was driving.
Yeah.
I'm doing it when I'm with my kids, so it became a part of me, right?
Yeah.
That's how it had to be.
The rhythm.
Right? So yeah, man, I pretty much know. Okay, so that I don't even know how many performances I've done.
Oh, geez.
Early days, I know I dropped a lot of bars.
Can't
and this
count
and
it.
that, right?
Yeah.
Because you're just so excited, adrenaline. You got to learn how to control your everything,
Your
your
heart
heart
rate.
rate,
Yeah.
your movements. You don't want to move around too much, right? You want to hit the words. You want,
And still look fly.
exactly.
Yeah. It's
So I
balancing
would
act.
pretty much score myself. So I gotta admit, I have a pretty flawless performance history.
Yeah,
man.
dude, you fucking show the
Yeah,
tight.
Yeah. I'll admit
Always.
that shit, man. And I'm not trying to be braggadocious, but because I wanted people to come to me after and be like, "Hey, man, I saw you. I saw your passion. I saw your that."
Yeah,
that.
100%.
It wasn't about for me. It's not about getting paid after the show.
Yeah.
That wasn't my agenda at that time, right? It was more about trying to attract people to what I was trying to do at that time, right? So. And early days, what we were trying to do as
Yeah, for
OPC,
sure.
right? It was just
Definitely.
trying to pull people in, right?
Yeah.
So shit had to be flawless, and I know your shit's flawless all the time. too,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. And I do the same thing, man, like
Polished.
you said. Like
and
you
no,
said.
here's the thing: no backtracks.
Yeah.
No BGs,
No.
no backtracks,
No.
no dubs.
No.
It's straight up just
spit.
rap.
And
just spit.
And I think you have to do that if you are going to charge people to come to your shows.
hell yeah,
because
man.
They're there to see you, right?
You know how many cats I see rap over a full track?
I've seen it.
Over a track.
Oh, so disappointing.
Miss
yo.
bars. Pull
Pull out the phone.
pull out the phone. Don't even know how to handle the mic. Like we would be, I would go by myself to a rehearsal spot.
Yeah.
And have the PAs bump in, the mic,
Yeah.
be me, my iPod, and just listen to myself rap over and over. And I was so
wild.
hard on myself. If I
Wild,
didn't
man.
get through the first line, I'd
Yeah.
go right back to the beginning. I didn't need somebody there.
That's
It's
crazy.
a discipline, right?
Persistence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it became like this is it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like almost sometimes I go into a zone, like I become possessed, man.
Well, because now you have a catalog, right? You have multiple
yeah.
albums, so that has to become because anytime you want to pull a track out and perform
Yeah.
it, you got to have it on command, right?
I'm pretty good. Like I feel like we're as an artist where I have over 40 songs, right? Like I'm approaching 50 pretty quick here, right?
Crazy.
And I got 3 full-length albums. I got 1 EP thing, right? I got multiple singles out there, right?
Yeah.
Multiple unreleased tracks, just tons of stuff everywhere,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And we're working on new music, and
For
I'm
sure.
working on a bunch of music with a bunch of other artists. So I'm actually gonna be in the studio this week, hopefully working on 1 track, and we got a couple
Great.
tracks we're working on, so we're gonna be dropping music, dropping the
Upside your head.
podcast. It's gonna be sick, right? And so it's man, you gotta take this shit seriously.
Yeah, and I've seen some live acts that are professionally touring artists that put on average shows.
Yep.
And then you see some guys that are, that are phenomenal. Like we've had the pleasure of seeing Rascas on stage.
Yeah, we got to perform with
and
Rascas on
jump on stage with him,
dude.
and we got to see. And the crazy thing is for me is obviously they get paid to perform. That's a given.
Yep.
But the room was a small room,
Yeah.
a gigantic room, but
Yeah.
not a big turnout.
Yeah.
And these dudes have performed in front of thousands of people.
Yeah.
And they're giving.
whether it's 1,000 or 1 or 10 or whatever, I feel like they'd give the same
They
performance.
gave
man.
their all,
Yeah,
man.
dude.
And the
Rascas
crazy
was
thing is
sick.
Well, and the crazy thing with Rascas is
Dubsy was sick.
Yeah.
That show was 2 of them
oh,
together.
it's dope. And
Yeah.
Rascas lyrically, right? Probably one of the most dense,
Oh man.
intense MCs that exist.
Oh, dude.
So
it's
people-
coming back to me right now,
Well-
watching him and just be like, oh.
What's the
and
thing is
he's
because
just
people in the crowd,
on point every word.
yeah,
man.
and you can't rap along to his
No,
lyrics.
You can't.
because it's
just gotta listen.
It's a lesson almost, right? So people are standing there taking all this-
Zombies.
Yeah, and you just can't there's no give. It's just all. He just gives.
I was just like this.
Yeah, it was.
I was
insane.
like, whoa.
Yeah, powerful, man.
Like I could see his album. You know, I'm holding it in my hand, listening to the tracks, his voice, how it resonates, how it hits you. Like
you put me on to Raz originally.
Yeah, man.
You were the first time I heard Razcast was you brought the CD in my car.
I was sorry. I told myself I'm gonna stay close to this mic.
Yes, I got you.
So yes, you know, you gotta remind me and shit, man. We want the people to hear us out there. And but like I was listening to all this West Coast stuff, like Casual, Hieroglyphics, Dell, you know, Far Side, right? All of these underground, right? That was kind of emerging West Coast music, indie artists, right? Amazing. Beautiful music. Later on, you know, Planet Asia, right? Man. Like all of these, you know, like
Jurassic 5
Saphir, right? So I was into this, right? And so you know, and his stuff was just dope, and you know, and
it was that's because I remember you bringing there's certain artists that I remember experiencing like for the very first time. There's certain legendary landmarks in my mind that I remember. This is the first time I heard this artist, the first song I heard, and I remember you're like, oh, you gotta hear this track. You pull out the CD, and it was a official Razcast CD, not a burned CD.
Yeah, I was thinking about pulling out. I got a crate at my house with a bunch of CDs. I wish they was vinyl, but CDs was our time.
You burned me a copy afterwards, but you had the real Razcast.
Hell yeah. You know how I got that? Remember BMG?
Yeah.
You could order all the CDs and shit for like
a penny.
Peanuts. Dude, I loaded my music, you know, inventory up, and I still got a lot of that stuff, man. Like,
But you played Nature of the Threats.
Oh, that was the track, man.
And I heard this formulation of tracks on the song,
it has a lot of influence on your style. I feel dude.
I can honestly say, and I told Razcast this as well. Nature of the Threat, it birthed my style.
Yeah,
it did because at that time I didn't know why I didn't have a reason to rap.
Yeah,
because all these artists were making great music, right? So I didn't have a reason.
Nope.
But then Raz dropped. I heard that fucking Nature of the Threat.
Well, when I met you, you were this very, you know, like you were well-read, well-studied, still are, right? Person, like, you know, and you have your own opinion and it just, you know, and you're Fijian Muslim, right? So it makes sense that Razcast would be a relatable person for you, right? Because of where he's coming from, right? And like, because, you know, he's I don't know much about him, but you know, I'm sure he was, you know, had a interesting, you know, life growing up.
Very.
But you know, I feel like maybe he's kind of like us, hard, you know, was around the struggle, seeing the struggle, interpreted it in his way, interpreted his personal, and that's his thing, right? He wasn't just telling stories about other people's doings. He was saying like, this is my experience about what I'm seeing, and like, be forewarned. He was telling us a long time ago, man.
It's powerful stuff, man.
Be forewarned.
Yeah, and I think it's really dope that we're doing this certified on point segment in our podcast, because I think what it's going to do is going to begin to establish what should be given.
Hell yeah, man.
Certification that's dope.
Fuck yeah. You know what? The like this is like the reminding me of like Source, right? Like 5 mic shit, right? Unsigned hype type of shit,
Double
right?
XL
stamp.
You
know.
Yeah.
Like this needs to happen, and this isn't happening anymore, man. Nobody's getting put on the chopping block. Nobody's being picked apart. Pick me apart, man. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You know, put my shit on. All my shit's on wax. You want to go and if somebody want to come step to me, I tell everybody go listen to a record first, man, because I put it all on the wax, right?
It's all there.
You know, why do you got to come after people in their personal? I hate it when I see beefs and all this shit, right? Like, you know, let's settle it on the wax, because that's how
wraps.
It's supposed to be done, man.
Well, the dope thing, like, man, the dope thing was we experienced a lot of rappers that had no problem calling out whack rappers.
Yeah.
Like, I think Pac was my biggest influence when it came to that. He didn't give a
hell yeah
fuck if you were
he
whack.
Had a style to him, man.
But he told you
want to
were
get
whack.
called up by Pac.
Yeah, because he would effectively end your career. When
Straight
Pac was
up,
alive, Mobb Deep couldn't get off, Jay-Z couldn't get off. None of these guys could get off because Pac just said "fuck you."
Yep.
He shut down the whole coast because of them.
Because he stood for something else, right?
Yeah.
And see, this is what's happening now, right? Nobody's standing for anything.
Yeah.
Everybody just wants the same thing. Everybody wants, and yes, there is underground music, but this is not what we're talking about, right? We're talking about like the music that's kind of overshadowing other music that could be coming out.
Exactly.
That's has messages
Yeah.
that are gonna move the people, right? KRS One, he says he wants to uplift the people in his music and stuff, right? Like, and this is what music's about, and not to perpetuate stereotypes and all of these things, right? And because I feel like in that, like, the true essence and the meaning of music is being lost, and it's being more about this thing about like expressing free expression, and people are just taking it the wrong way.
Yeah, and I think we're at a place now because there's a lot of dope rappers, and I see a lot of I've taken a lot of content, a lot of podcasts, a lot of material, and I see a lot of these interviews, and they'll ask, like, the trendsetters. They'll ask dudes like Cole, Kendrick, all these guys that are like the top of the heap, the best in the game, and they'll ask them, oh, well, what do you think about this mumble rap? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And
they got nothing to say.
They're not direct. They kind of play around. Well, okay, so I'm a huge Cole fan.
Yeah,
and he put out a song called 1985.
Okay,
and he goes at all the whack rappers. He eats them up on that song. Yeah. And Kendrick's got a few tracks where he really calls people out as well. And I love that shit. That's why they're some of my favorites. But on
the record?
Yeah.
But not on the record.
Right.
What is it gonna be?
Dude, bars.
Shit.
Unintentional bars just come out.
Well, this is the thing, right? You have to. Well, see, we're not at that level, right? So we don't know what's going on, right? We don't know what other dynamics are at play and all these things, right?
Yes.
This is what maybe we're striving for. I don't know. When we get to that level, we'll find out, right?
Yeah.
But I think, like, if you don't pay attention to what the people before you were telling you through the music, then when you step into it, you're gonna be one of those ones that become a sheep.
Yeah.
Right? You're just
and
going to become
detrimental. You become detrimental to the culture.
And you're going to contaminate rather than contribute to something that could be so amazing, so beautiful, and so moving.
Yeah.
Right?
And, like, once you have a platform and an opportunity to speak, if somebody asks me what I think about certain rappers, if I think they're whack, I'm going to say they're fucking whack. That doesn't mean I hate you as a person.
I'm too nice, man. Shit, dude. I was like, I'm not one of those guys either that'll be like behind your back, oh, that dude was whack. Like,
dude, I met you spitting battle bars.
Hell yeah, man. That's all that we had to do. There was no rappers around when I was rapping. I was battling myself,
But you would clown us all the time in your bars.
Yeah.
And I loved it because that's how I learned how to do it.
Hell yeah.
Because once I saw you doing, like, this guy's fucking...
Well, and because I was influenced by that early rap, and that's pretty much what a lot of early rap was, right? It was a lot of braggadocious shit, right?
Yeah,
and they were people were trying to, implant themselves or, make themselves a fixture, right?
Yeah.
And set themselves apart, right? So you had to be like that, right?
Yeah.
That was my influences. And I think that still needs to be relevant now, and it's not anymore. You could just say whatever the hell you want, and you can make $1 million, right?
Like the fact that the fact that a Post Malone can say that he doesn't listen to any hip hop,
that's garbage.
And
man.
it's called and last year was like the #1 stream.
I stopped listening to Post Malone after you said that to me because I have him, like I said, he's on my playlist. There's a couple of tracks that I really dig, but after you said that to me, I was like, fuck this shit. Because I'm going to believe what you're saying, more than somebody else, right?
I was shocked when I heard this because I'm like, yo, you profit off the culture in the most massive
they
way.
Just appropriate that shit. They molest it. They pervert it. They rape it. I say it in my songs, right? Yeah. Rape the culture like a bunch of vultures, man.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
And it's sickening, man.
Yeah. So I was really disappointed, when I see that because I'm like, if that's what's the most streamed hip hop, and the artist is openly saying that this is not even music I listen to that I like. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Dude, I seen here's a video I seen of Post Malone, and I don't know, he's in his truck or whatever, and some lady rolls up to him and she's like, "Oh my God, are you Post Malone? Like, my daughter loves you." And he's just stoned out of his tree, smoke coming out of the thing, probably drunk, or he was drinking, and out of a red cup, and it's like, come on, man, this is the people that we got representing our our future generations, our younger generations right now. Like, come on, man. Yeah. Get real, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry, Post Malone. I don't know who you is personally. Maybe you're a nice person, whatever.
Maybe?
But the image that you present is, whatever.
And the music is whack,
on, bro.
The music is whack. Like,
you can do so much better, man.
This is one of the reasons I really like Joe Budden, because
Be a better man.
Joe Budden doesn't give a fuck. Joe Budden doesn't really care. Charlamagne the God doesn't really care. He'll kind of say whatever he feels, and I like those dudes because they kind of get pushed to the fringes because they're so outspoken, but they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They asked Budden about Eminem's freestyle to Trump on the BET Hip Hop Awards.
Oh yeah.
And Joe Budden said it's whack.
Yeah.
It is whack. I don't like it.
What's Eminem doing, man? Come on, Em. Shit, man. I'm not calling out Eminem. I'm just questioning your decision making, man.
Wait,
Like,
have
come
you
on,
heard?
bro.
Did you hear Music to Be Murdered By?
Yes.
You didn't like it?
Yeah.
What about the second one?
Oh, well, come on, man.
You know, like,
He did. It's just I love Eminem. He just for me, it's a lot of repetitive stuff. It's like like
patterns.
Kamikaze. I like Kamikaze, right? Like
yeah.
But I was never into Eminem that
sure,
much. Yeah,
for sure.
So
Yeah.
But I did try to listen to him in these later years and stuff, and
Yeah.
I think maybe my time with him had passed, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Stand up.
Yeah. So when I hear M, to me what I'm thinking when I'm hearing M is technically, this guy is a fucking V12 supercharged fucking Lamborghini, because every word, bar, syllable is just perfect.
Oh, he kills it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And
Every time.
And I hear a lot of people say he's not listenable. I don't bump him in my car.
Yeah.
I get it. You're not gonna ride to Eminem.
Yeah.
But for me, hip hop is not always about that.
No, it's not. It's about like I think what hip hop was, and we had our last week's episode when we talked about fashion, and we showed about like the individuality,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Individualism. That's what it's about, right?
sure.
Like that's the thing about hip hop, right? There's all these different elements.
Yeah, yeah,
So there's not just one thing to it, right? If hey, not everybody that can break dance can rap. Not everybody
For
that
real.
can rap can break dance or do graffiti.
Hell
Maybe
yeah.
somebody can DJ, but they fucking don't know anything else about anything, right?
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
Yeah.
So this is the amazing thing about the culture, right?
Yeah.
Where you can create your own opportunities,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
But it's about what you do with it, right?
Yeah,
You
the
know?
individuality part of it is huge, because I mean, the ones that obviously are considered the greatest, like even like E40,
Yeah.
probably the most individually unique artist
Oh,
to
yeah.
exist.
Hell yeah.
Birth language. He literally created a
Oh, yeah.
new way to speak.
Hell yeah,
And
man.
if you're not a casual
Hyphy.
fan,
Hyphy.
but you may not be able to get into it.
No.
Because of the way he structures his rhyme patterns, you may not be able to, because it's not a rhythmic, typical rhyme pattern that you hear that you can vibe to. E40, you gotta listen.
I don't know, I'm thinking of it. I'm hearing his voice in my head
Oh,
right now.
man.
I want to do it right now.
You know? And the thing is, like, and so a part of hip hop for me is I like to listen to the tacticians.
Yeah.
And the way they go out of their way to
Hell yeah.
manipulate the English language and put it in patterns and places that even me, as someone that really pays attention to
Yeah.
patterns, I never thought could be done, right?
Hell yeah. That's the awesome. And I'm always changing up my flow and always trying to bring
Always.
something different.
Always.
I think every track on any verse I've ever put out, I don't shy away from any beats.
Yeah, yeah.
I try to really stretch out my style and make it versatile and
Yeah.
like do different things with different people. So R&B kind of
And
style.
you pay homage
rock
to your
beats,
own
whatever,
culture.
man. Yes.
You pay homage to Indian culture
Yeah,
too,
man.
on your track.
Yeah, I got different tracks with like a little bit like Bollywood samples
Yeah.
and stuff, right?
Sick.
So I'm always trying to incorporate different things in, right?
Yeah.
To
Yeah, and
set myself apart.
So I think this is kind of where the separation might be from where hip hop fans see hip hop, because I don't think they're absorbing the art
no.
within the scope of what the culture is. So some of the real pristine artists that you really have to dig into, that aspect of hip hop, like the backpacker with the headphones on,
yeah.
just listening to the bars. This part is starting to leave.
Oh,
And people just want to vibe.
they just want to vibe and yeah, pretty much they don't really care to. I feel like they don't really care to listen. Like I don't really. I don't feel like how mumble rap is even a style of music
No.
or rap, right? Like just. Why does the person even have to like be on the track? Just take the track out and just make it an instrumental,
listen
right?
to the
Like
beat.
and
just do ad libs, just ad libs and beat.
Like so I didn't really get into all that stuff, but I did pay attention to that whole movement, that whole scene and stuff, and it's dying out. And I really feel like this golden age of hip hop is going to have its opportunity to reemerge and shine, because I also think like the global conscience is their awareness is raised, and I think this is the time now
Moving
for
towards that.
for this form of the music or this style or delivery is going to change now, and it's going to become more about this reflective and like music's going to make people think.
Yeah,
right?
and I think this platform is going to be a dope way to kind of bridge that connection again. I want people to hear, the stuff that we talk about, and then when they go to listen to the artist, and I want them to try and look for that connection. Like, do you feel the words in the way the artist intended, or are you just vibing to what he's?
Well, here's something I find in a lot of music that I listen to is there's influences, like a lot of rap and hip hop that's out right now. It's a lot of that style, whether that person rapping may know it or not, has come from this, right?
Yeah.
Like way over here, because wherever they were influenced from, they were influenced from the old school, right?
For sure.
So the younger that you were introduced to that stuff, or like if you grew up closer to the time of when it really started, the meaning of it's going to be different to you than it is going to be to somebody who was, growing up in the last 15, 20 years, right?
Yeah, and it's wild because I have, my son all the time brings me new music. And he's like, oh, listen to this. And I'll hear it, and I'll hear a sample from a song from the 90s. I'm like, do you know where that's from?
Yeah.
And then, like, so he really likes A$AP Rocky. Yeah. So he brings out the A$AP Mob. He plays A$AP Rocky. I'm listening to A$AP. I'm like, yo, this guy sounds like Bone Thugs.
Okay.
So I told him, like, hey, A$AP really sounds like Bone Thugs. You should go dig into some Bone Thugs. And it turns out A$AP is a big Bone Thugs fan and was influenced by their whole style.
There you go, right?
So Bone Thugs like birthed A$AP style.
So there you go.
Yeah.
And he took what he heard and it became his own thing, right?
100%.
And so, like, for me, I can't say there's one person, because I just was like, I want to soak up what everybody was this, because I grew up in that time where you wanted to be the best.
Yeah.
It wasn't about money. It wasn't about floss, right? Because in this day and age, anybody can floss and have money and stuff, right? But what sets you apart as a person, individual, the things that you stand for, right?
Yeah.
And those things have been lost, right?
Yeah. And dude, I learned a lot about knowing how to appreciate music from you that way.
Hell yeah, man.
Because my scope is still limited, but back then it was way more limited.
Yeah.
I only listened to specific gangster shit only.
Yeah.
And then you play these songs. I'm like, this sounds dope. But I was kind of like, because
it's a lot to wrap your head around, man.
Well, you remember Aris?
Yes, yeah.
Right? He was like the plug for all the music, because he would scour Source and Double XL and look at all the little ads of all these rappers from the South, and then go buy all the music.
Awesome.
So this was kind of like where the influence was, and then you would kind of sneak in some Tribe and sneak in some De La, like, whoa, fuck, this is dope.
And I don't know still to this day what it is. But there was, and I've seen like documentaries, and I've read articles, and I've followed these artists for a long time, and I've heard them all talk, and I've seen them, come and go, right? And I just don't know to this day still what it is. Even as we sit here right now, I feel it's like burning inside my chest. Like this is how passionate I have for this music.
Yeah,
right?
Hell yeah. And that's a perfect segue to lead us to our segment that we've been talking about for a while. On point certification.
Hell yeah.
And when we certify artists in this segment, the goal is to set the bar at a place that really makes the artist shine the way they're supposed to. So we've been kind of deliberating who we're going to talk about,
Yeah.
And it's only right that we set the bar as high as possible.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Who we talking about?
The On Point Podcast presents to you Certified with KRS One.
The Master Blaster, the teacher.
The teacher, knowledge reigns supreme.
So this is the breakdown. 100-point system, 50 points from Queez, 50 points from Alite. We combine the total points to give the artist their on-point stamp certification. Obviously, the closer you get to 100, the closer you are to be certified on point.
You're either going to be on point certified or certified on point. But you want to be certified on point, because that's the top of the top.
Yeah, and I mean, and you got to understand, we're going to talk about all kinds of rappers.
All kinds of rappers. We just chose KRS One because he's KRS One, man,
and we want to set the bar high.
And if you don't know who a KRS One is, definitely after this episode you're gonna want to look him up and go check him out, man, because he's still doing his thing, like 200 years in the game, man.
From the birth.
Yeah.
From the inception, man.
Yeah.
He is one of the biggest influences on lyricism and just on what it means to be hip hop.
Hell yeah.
He's got the temple of hip hop. So come on.
Yeah. And he uses hip hop for the right reasons. I feel like.
Oh, 100%.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
I think he's one of the biggest bridges to the culture. And again, one of the reasons why we chose him, because we're probably going to, over time, we're going to talk about rappers that we may not like so much.
Hell yeah.
And then
you
the
might
scale,
like somebody, I might not like somebody.
Facts. So the scale will be kind of tipped here and there. And I think with this kind of unanimous artist, because we both think KRS is dope, it'll kind of give you guys an idea of where we think the bar should be set.
Mm-hmm.
And then over time, we'll kind of establish a barometer for where everybody else falls.
Yeah. Because he's out there. He's still making music. We were listening to some of his older tracks.
Yeah.
Like, I've got him on playlists. And, like, he's saying what... This is what I see. There's no trend in his music.
Yeah.
It's just timeless music with a message and a meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And, as we were talking earlier, we talked a little bit about his... his biography, I guess, right? Growing up, and you told me that, how he grew up in a shelter, I guess, or not in a shelter. He spent some time in a shelter. This is how he met DJ Scott LaRock, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not just KRS One, right? He was part of Boogie Down Productions, BDP,
Yes.
right? And then then KRS emerged as a solo artist,
yeah,
right?
for sure. Yeah, and Boogie Down, I mean, initially from some of the things I've heard from KRS One, Scott LaRock essentially funded their studio time being KRS-One's support worker in the shelter.
Hey, man.
So it kind of just shows that this union was meant to be. It had to happen. It had to happen.
Well, man, I like this, right? Like, this feels like we've kind of done our own things and coming back, like, hey, we're here, right? And now we're going to talk hip hop,
for
right?
sure. So this is the scale that we're going to use for all the artists. Again, we're doing a total of 100 points. So why don't you break down the categories that we're going to be
all right,
rating these
check
MCs.
Check it. 5 points per category for Alite and Queezy for a total of 100 points, everybody. All right, we got wordplay. We got voice, flow and cadence, vocabulary, cultural impact. Mm-hmm. Now, you might ask, what is the cultural impact? We'll get into that.
Yes.
Replayability, songwriting, beat selection, versatility, and authenticity. Yeah, how original
I think we covered it all.
I think those are like awesome.
Yeah, I think we covered everything.
Categories. We talked about the back and forth, right? We shared them and said, yeah, this is what we settled on. And I think as an artist, me performing, these are things, that I wanted to make sure that we're on point when I'm writing music, right?
Yeah, 100%.
As an artist, we have that ability to reflect and say, hey, we're putting out music, like, you want to put out your best product, right? Like, when you go buy something like a hat or whatever, you expect something quality, right?
100%.
Same thing with music. It needs to be quality.
Yeah.
And even behind, what you're saying needs to be a quality message, I think.
100%. And you see, the thing is, you can have tracks that break the mainstream, that get radio play. That doesn't mean you have to say garbage. No. You can still say dope stuff in your raps and still have a party track.
Hell yeah, man. You can say a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really sickening, like, when I hear a lot of the radio, because I'm sure a lot of people drive around with their children in the car and they listen 100%. To like the radio stations, right? And it's unfortunate that, like, first things first, like, your local radio stations, they don't play local content.
Nope. Oh, we'll get into that in another episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Which is like total garbage, right?
Yeah,
like,
we're coming at y'all radio stations, man.
After everybody,
you
man.
Don't know.
This is what the internet is about, right? We need to get it out there, like, because there's so much let's get into this, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, oh man.
So and
I
think one really cool example of an artist that kind of used wordplay and gets mainstream. I think Biggie was a dope example. He had a lot of tracks that crossed over mainstream.
Yeah.
But the wordplay was all flipping words and sounding fly and skillful. And when you take a look at KRS's catalog,
which you got?
1987. Woo! He's been dropping albums since 87.
Yeah.
And you know what the astonishing thing to me is, when you look at this timeline, he's been dropping albums almost every single year of his existence.
Yeah.
phenomenal.
I tried to
timeline.
make that a goal for myself,
Yeah.
and you know, it's a very difficult goal to attain. So for him to be able to do it, yeah, man, that's amazing.
Phenomenal.
Man. To be able to have that ability to write a song, write an album, and how many songs? He doesn't just have 5 songs on an
No,
album.
it's
He's got
full
like you know
albums.
19, 20 songs. This guy's
albums.
got on his albums,
Yeah, yeah,
and they're
yeah.
all lyrical and they're all spiritual, right?
Yeah.
You can't fuck with that shit, man.
So I was doing some deep dives throughout the catalog, and I really wanted to focus on what he's putting out now, his most current releases. And I've been listening to Between the Protests and Streetlight back and forth over the past week.
Okay.
And the crazy thing to me, he's got a song on one of the the Between the Protests album where he just raps about books.
okay,
The whole song is him telling you about all the books that he's read.
wow,
What books you should read,
Yep.
and why you should read them, and why they're dope.
dope.
I'm just listening to this guy. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
First of all, the wordplay is inventive
Oh, yeah.
because he's using authors' names, he's using titles,
Yeah.
and then weaving them into why it's valuable. And
How much like thought has to go into
exactly?
that? Man? Like,
So
wow, man.
the vocabulary, obviously, he's very well read. I mean,
Yeah.
he gives lectures at universities
Yeah.
all the time. He runs a temple of hip hop, gives
Yeah.
lectures himself to
Yeah.
his congregation.
Hell yeah.
So his level of lyrical accessibility in his brain, the Rolodex is
Dude, imagine
endless.
being in that guy's presence,
Oh,
man. Like,
wow.
oh, you just be like, so his aura must
Yeah.
be just so powerful, man. When I see him talk in videos
Yeah.
and stuff,
Oh, it's captivating.
like, yeah, because you know, or let alone like listening to him on the record, right? Like, but when
Yes.
you see him in person and he talks, his voice, his
Yeah.
stature, like, yeah, that he defines, you know, who he is.
So I was listening, and I wanted to get into some quotables from KRS. And the quotables that you're going to hear right now are all off of the most current albums, the 2 most
Yo.
current albums. And again, I had to be picky for time because the whole album is a quotable.
Yep.
Every song, you got to understand, every song, there's intent to make you go, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is how, if you're gonna put out songs or whether you're gonna even if you're gonna do singles,
Yeah.
have some cohesion in those singles, have some consistency, right?
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
don't be jumping around and this and that, right? Like you want to build a movement, right?
Yeah.
Not just a fan base,
moment.
right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, or a moment in time, create a trend, take advantage of the opportunity. Like, you want to have some longevity, right?
Yeah.
Have some legend status,
For
right?
sure, for
You know,
sure.
set yourself apart from everybody else.
Well, and I mean, isn't that the reason why people become artists to begin with? Don't you want to leave your stamp and make something that lasts?
Not anymore, because even like it's interesting. Now, and I want to talk about this one day, you know, in another episode. But like, I still see artists like rapping and put booty shaking in you know, at all levels, locally,
Yeah.
right, and globally, and like this. I just feel like this whole thing is played out, man. And why? How come this is still going on? I know this makes money and shit like that, but like,
Money.
really, come on, man.
Mike's throwing up dollar bills
Like,
in the
you
back.
know,
Loonies.
yeah, I don't know. I can't. This is the thing, right? Like, you know, it's unfortunate that artists like this person, KRS One, you know, he could have so much more impact on the world, but because there's other powers or other things at play or
Yeah.
whatever, like, you know, he kind of falls to the wayside, right?
And I think he's okay with that because I think probably the most prominent, the easiest way to categorize how he feels about himself is when he says, "I'm not number one. No, wait, sorry, a lot. I'm number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5."
Yes.
You drop a line like that,
Yeah.
you know you're the best.
Hell yeah.
He knows obviously his place and stature.
Yep.
It's just unfortunate that it's not more mainstream.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
that's the problem.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Mainstream. Some people choose to not, and they embrace that. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's but these artists, they get overshadowed by the mainstream, so that they get overlooked,
Yeah,
right?
for
By
sure.
you know, so it's like people like us who grew up listening to this music that are preserving it, right, and playing it for our kids and teaching them about it, right? Like my kids are 5 and 6 and they know about break beats and you know, and like samples and scratches, and they know how to, like, my daughter and my son are, you know, doing footwork on the ground, right? And you know, and I showed this to them when they were like
That's amazing.
1 and 2 years old, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, you know, maybe a little bit's in their DNA, and I
Oh,
just
for
needed to bring it
sure.
out of them, right? Like,
For
so
sure.
this is the thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, music is so powerful. He understands that,
Yeah.
and he uses it for the right reasons. I
Yeah.
feel like, right?
in a very powerful way. And I think, like, personally for me, I think if there's an MC that you do not want to battle,
yeah, you don't want to battle this guy.
you do not want to battle KRS-One.
Because every category that we have up there, when we get into it,
Yeah.
like
he'll manipulate the mental
Yeah.
in a way where you just cannot battle.
Yeah.
And I think Eminem would probably be the other one that you don't want to battle. But I think KRS-One would fuck Eminem up.
Yeah,
I think he'd
so.
mangle him.
I don't know what Eminem would do with.
There's not much you can go at.
Eminem would bow out. I think, man. He'd be like, you can't fuck
respectfully.
with the teacher, man. He's got mad respect for KRS-One. I know that for sure.
For
Yeah,
sure,
yeah,
for sure. So pull up some of these quotables,
Yeah.
man. Let's
right.
give people an idea of what KRS is saying now.
All right, check it out. So he's got the first one we got here is I don't battle young rappers. That's child abuse. and it almost is, right? Because I'm looking a lot,
would be.
and I see a lot of this younger generation of rappers and stuff. Like go on your Instagram feed, look it up, and
you'll
like
see
even like and I see a bunch of misled individuals.
Yeah,
man.
for sure.
Men and women, boys and girls, right? So it's really unfortunate because we didn't grow up like that, right? And I feel for the younger generations, right? That there's not more of this, culturally, sound music where it's gonna really push people forward. So we got, I can't bother young rappers. That's child abuse. These children's, because I got lines like that too. Yeah. When my words get to your mental, they become sentimental. Tight.
Just love it.
Love
it. Guy's a monster.
Most rappers are followers. The only thing they led is a pencil.
Right.
Shit, that's just tight. All right. Blackness is not just for February. It's every day from your birth to the cemetery. Damn. Boom. Bye-bye.
Damn.
Right? He always had those, because that's where he grew up,
He's got
right?
some patois.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some of that Jamaican patois for sure.
The Bronx.
Yeah. Boogie down.
All right. Where was I? First of all, the city ain't mine, it's yours. Democracy is a joke when capitalists write the laws. You critique my flaws, but don't speak of yours. You only show the effects, but never speak of the cause.
Oof.
Who you are.
Wow.
Who you are.
Powerful. I think one thing he always made a point to be is point out the inconsistencies in society. And to me, for an artist, that's a big deal.
Well, and here we go. Like I talked about this in one of our first episodes on the High Phrase about the baby, and he has a song, Black Lives Matter remix to his song. This is the kind of shit you should be saying, man. I'm sorry, bro. I don't know you, but like, hey, man, if I had that opportunity, I can't say money would change me or whatever, but like, I don't know. This is just in my heart now, so I feel like if I make it, that this would still be in my heart the way that I feel. Yeah.
Wouldn't change.
So yeah, you got to say that stuff, man. Yeah, you got to say, man, because there's some stuff going on out there, man. Don't just blend in with the sheet, man. You see me sipping kava in the Fiji Islands.
And the reason I think that's dope is because
that's where we're from.
Yeah, well, obviously. So shout out to Fiji. And on top of that, it just shows that even when he talks about other cultures, he does it in a way that's responsible and points to things that matter to them. Because to Fijians, kava is gold.
Yeah, because we're real Fijians. Yeah.
Tribal
on a level, right? Yeah. But like, there's the real Fijians, right? And so that's who you got to pay respect to, right?
So he's very thoughtful in his approach to mentioning anything.
Yeah.
Very well thought out. And you can even see it when he speaks. He's very well spoken. He doesn't rush into conversations that make him look like he's out of place.
No, he thinks before you can see him. When you ask him a question, he answers like in a good time. He doesn't keep you waiting, but you can see how fast his brain works, how much he can access, how much information is in that guy's head that he can go, and he knows where stuff is.
Exactly.
He can just go boop, 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 boop,
file
and
folders.
Like, yeah, okay, pull this shit out my cerebral, right? Like, okay, man.
And that's a brilliant skill to have. It was one thing to have information. It's one thing to know how to access it.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the other. Here's a conversation. I don't even know if people talk about rap or hip hop on this level. Even
it's been a long time, I think, since I've heard it. Yeah,
I watch Sway. I watch a lot of these, shows and stuff, and I don't. This narrative, this dialogue's not happening, man.
Well, and the thing is, because a lot of the guests that they have to have aren't in this place.
This
right?
is true. Yeah.
Because I know Sway is one of my favorites, and actually one of the reasons why I even wanted to have a thing like this was because of Sway.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Because when he has dope, because he had Michael Rappaport on, and Michael Rappaport's dope. Yeah. It's fucking dope. And then they went in because, like, when people are speaking for the culture, that's when Sway goes in too, right?
Yeah.
But
those, there's those people.
Outside of
so,
that.
well, this is the thing, right? Like, even when those are, like, when I saw an interview with Young Buck on something, I can't remember, it was a breakfast show or something.
Right,
He's talking about, what happened with him and 50 Cent and G Unit and all that stuff, right? And he was writing a lot of songs, and some of the songs that he had written, like, 50 Cent left him out of the songs completely and stuff, right? So, and what is it about? It's about money at that time. What else could it be about, right?
sure.
Well, if this guy's better than me, I don't want him to outshine me, and it sucks because it shouldn't be about that, right? Everybody should have their space and time to do what they need to do, right? It shouldn't be about like just getting all this one thing and then that's what you did it for, right? It should be like, okay, like I said, having some consistency, having some longevity in the game. We got one more line here: too many rappers and not enough rhymes. Yep, this is true. Honestly, man, there's so many rappers out there that these rappers don't even give a what they look like, what they rap like, what they like, they don't care.
Where's the quotables? If there's this many rappers, where are all the quotables?
Oh, man.
There should be quotables everywhere that people are like, what? He said that? What?
There's this song on the radio, and it's a popular song, and it's a kid singing it, and I can't remember because when I looked it up, because he says the line in there, and it caught my ear because he says you can't turn a hoe into a housewife, right? It's basically the line, and that's a fucking old school rap line, right?
Corrupt.
And this kid's like probably not even like 18 or anything, and I'm just thinking about, does he even understand? Does he even know? Maybe he does. I don't know who you is, man. Call me up, bro. Look me up. Whatever it is, but like when I hear these things, and this is what's being played now, but okay, well, you just took that one line from the whole other song, but if you listen to the whole other song, there's a lot of other stuff going in that song that's like, okay, yeah, man,
that puts gives that line some perspective.
Yes, so it's like, oh man, I want to talk to that guy. Be like, hey, you heard that line? You think it was fly, or did you actually listen to the whole song? You know where it's coming from? Did you think about it before you put it in your song? Did you think about, who is going to be listening to it when you put it in your song? Who might be repeating what you're saying when they're listening to your song? I want to know if people put this much thought into their music.
You know what's crazy?
Because I do.
I spent so much time listening to this man's catalog and literally saying, wow.
Yeah.
And the really dope thing is that, because I've been playing KRS-1 in front of my kids since they were kids, babies. So
he's pretty much like the only rapper.
He rarely ever swears.
No, he doesn't swear.
Yeah. And the crazy thing for me is, The Sound of the Police, obviously probably his most well-known stream song.
Yeah.
To this day, my kids will see cops and go, whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Because it's just a part of their narrative. They just automatically relate to him.
Man.
So when we look at all
50 million streams or something crazy,
especially I'm sure now even more so with all the shit the
500
police are doing.
Man. He's got some fans. He's got some loyal fans out there, man.
Yeah. So I mean,
and that, you know what? To see that he has numbers like that, you know what that says? That those people that he influenced with his music are influencing their generation.
100%.
And that's the only thing that can make sense to me, right?
100%.
How would he have this many streams, right? Okay, here we go, right?
But now I think what needs to happen is, because the things that are streamed are obviously his back catalog from back in the day. What needs to be streamed is his current catalog.
Stuff, because he's a teacher.
Well, every line you quoted are from his last two albums over the past 3 years. This is not stuff from the 80s, 90s. This is brand new content that he's putting out that's still incredible and stuff you can quote off the head.
Hell yeah, man.
So do you want to give your ratings first, and then I'll do mine after?
Well, come on, man. Like I gave him. I'm just gonna say I gave him. I scored him all across the board. Just gave him. I said you're the best KRS-1 ever. No. So 5 points per category for Alite and Queezy for a total of 100 points. Well, let's say wordplay. Come on, man. Untouchable. Wordplay, one of the best, the illest teachers of the game. I gave him top points in that category right there. Voice, well, come on. When you hear him, he just draws you in. He pulls you in. I give him full points in that category. That's like 5 mics. That's like 5 mics in the source. He just, flow and cadence. He could just rap the same the whole way for the rest of his life. I would still listen to him because it's just the stuff that he puts together is insane. So he gets a 5. Yo, vocabulary. Well, come on, man.
It almost makes me
he
laugh.
wrote. What did you say? He wrote a song about the books that he read,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the books that he thinks you should read for yourself, using the titles of the books and the names of the authors, plus probably some other stuff to,
Of course.
you know.
Of course.
Yeah. So come on, man. Cultural impact. Hell yeah, man. He definitely he is the culture of hip hop. If you don't know, replayability. Well, we just talked about his stream.
Right.
Multiple millions. Good
From the 90s.
Yeah. Hell yeah. And he's got what album for every year since
Every year.
1987.
Yeah.
That's a lot of music.
That's a lot of music.
A lot of music. That's a lot of
Jesus.
ears. A lot of people.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Hell yeah, man. Songwriting. Well, come on, man. If you can put out an album every year for the rest of your life, is pretty much is what he's
you
doing
can
right
put out
now.
the damn songs.
Then hell yeah, man. And yeah, you know, like I songs, like I try to like, you know, this was my thing when I was putting out albums. I was like, every album that I put out, I'm gonna have 10 songs. That was realistic for me.
For sure.
I thought that was good amount
good
of
number.
songs, like 30 minutes, kind of is like what the listening time, right? And I was like, yeah, 10, right? Like, you know, I think that's a good. So yeah. So being able to write songs is not easy because every song you want to be different.
Of course.
Right? And beat selection. Well, he's worked with some of the best. He's worked with some of the best. And he does his own.
Yep.
You know? And
he's got beat tapes.
Yeah. And who else to do your own but yourself, right?
For real.
You know, and
You
then
know your flow the best.
and then somebody else is gonna take it and then they're gonna mess with it
Yeah.
and do what, you know, they think. So that's what the art form's all about, right? Versatility, yeah. You can't touch him, man. There's no and whether there's like you want to compare the rap game or hip hop or whatever it is, like I think just everything about who he is, because there would be no rap game without the hip hop game.
For sure.
So
100%.
you know, and authenticity. Well, there's only one.
There's only one.
There's only one. The Blastmaster KRS-1.
So I think to put it in a
Knowledge reigns
nutshell,
supreme over nearly everyone.
you would give him a 50.
Yeah, hell yeah, 50.
Our first ever 50
I give him 50.
point total for an artist. And I mean, I obviously got to give you mine as well. So
And we might disagree.
we're definitely going to disagree. I think on this one, we didn't disagree very much at all.
No.
Because if
no,
we're talking about wordplay, I mean, Queezi read you some quotables over the last 2 years only. And obviously, one of the most brilliant MCs ever. The fact that he took officer and overseer and kept saying them over and over again until they became the same word.
Yeah.
Dude, I hear that shit, man, and it blows my fucking mind. That he took officer and overseer and made them one word on the track. To me, it's just like, okay, the things you can do with the English language
Hell
is
yeah.
endless.
Well,
So obviously it's a 5. Wordplay is,
student, teacher.
I would give it much if we had more, but we stop at 5.
Yeah.
Voice, sonically, what KRS-One does with his voice sonically is some of the best ever heard, because he spits patois into his hip hop. And I think the combination of that, plus he's from the Boogie Down, so his
Oh, yeah,
voice
man.
already is dope.
Oh, man.
And is loud, and it just captures your ear, and
Yeah.
you just can't escape it. It's almost like it just grabs you.
That's what, and when he came up, that's what it needed to be, man.
Yeah, and it
He needs to
feels
be
like
a lion.
It feels like you
Needs
press
to be a
play.
lion.
Like what happens to me when I press play, I hear it. I press play. What the fuck are we, 1990?
Yeah.
You hit play on the fucking playlist. You press play on your screen, and the voice hits you, and it literally feels like someone's chasing you down.
Yeah.
And like rapping at you like this.
Hey, man. Listen
Right?
up, bro.
Yeah. So voice 5, flow cadence, some of the best
Yeah.
patterns, rhyme patterns I've ever heard from the Boogie Down Bronx days, the boom bap days.
Oh, man.
He spits double time too
Oh, yeah,
now.
he's crazy.
So obviously his flow is evolving. Like
He's crazy, yeah.
he never ever dated himself.
No, I'm sure he listens to everything
100%.
too.
He stays
yeah.
in the loop.
Oh, you got to.
Because I'm listening to his raps now on this last album of his, and I just could not believe the rhyme pattern. Like, dude, this guy's amazing. And he's got the boom bap style, the typical boom bap style that you would hear, but he can flip it anyway. So another 5 for flow and cadence.
5.
Vocab, dude, this guy writes books.
Yep.
He makes movies.
Yep.
He birthed the temple of hip hop.
Yep.
He gives lectures at Harvard and some of the biggest universities in the world. So, I mean, how could he have a limited
He's a
vocabulary?
man of few words.
And he uses them effectively.
Yeah, man.
So definitely a 5. Cultural impact. I mean, he is the culture,
Yep.
like Queezy said earlier.
Yeah.
The fact that he not only has a actual congregation that comes and listens to him talk about his beliefs in hip hop and everything else, that says a lot right there.
Well, yeah, and you could catch him in a record store. You could digging through the records.
another reason which makes him
off the beaten path, off the whatever.
Yeah.
He that's the kind of person he is, right? So,
5 easy 5 for cultural impact.
yeah.
Replayability. I mean, I still listen to some of his music from the 80s and 90s, so replayability is out of control. The fact that my 19-year-old has KRS on his playlist says a lot about the replayability. It appeals to the new generation, appeals to people that came up.
It's in your DNA.
Yeah. Songwriting, I think he's hands down when you're talking about hip hop. And remember, On Point Podcast is about hip hop.
Hip hop only.
We're not talking about pop hooks.
Nope.
We're not talking about R&B mashups.
No.
We're talking about hip hop.
Hip hop.
So if the songwriting is hip hop songwriting, KRS is second to none. Second to none. Beat selection, like Queez said, he makes his own beats and he chooses some of the best production. He's got a track on this newest album of his that is some of the flyest beats I've ever heard on this newest album.
Okay.
And it's really current, and he uses a lot of tribal influences. So I think beat selection is top notch. Give it another 5.
Yeah.
If you go to KRS-1.com, you can
Check
hear a
out
lot
his
of
own beats. Yeah.
Yeah. Versatility, flow versatility is some of the best. The fact that you can go from double time to slow it down on the same track inspires me like crazy.
If you out there and you're rapping and you haven't listened to KRS-One, you need to go listen to KRS-One because a lot of styles a lot of styles birthed from KRS-One.
Yeah, and you're gonna do yourself a favor. Because you're going to understand that when you write a verse, you don't have to use the same cadence the whole verse. No. You can spit 4 bars in one cadence, the next 4 in another cadence, and just keep flipping flows.
This is how we learned.
Yeah,
and, like I listened to these guys so much, and they wrote a lot in like 16s and stuff, right? So like that just became like I could drop a 16 no problem, right? Like boom.
Yeah.
Like so. That is, and to be able to do that within the thing and have versatility within the bars, within the hooks, right? And change it up and go back and forth, because it's an art form, man.
Sure, man.
You got to represent. It's like a hockey player. You got to finesse that shit.
Well, and people, Bob Ross, the painter, right?
Hell yeah.
People see Bob Ross and the little gentle trees and all this stuff. People love him so much. But the technique behind the painting.
This is it.
This is years of crafted technique until he can give you this painting in like an hour show on TV. Yeah. You just can't pick up a paintbrush and do what he does, right? This is crafted over time.
Hell yeah, man.
And you hone and refine and you build skill.
Yes.
There's no greater example.
No, because I've seen some people that they need beats to rap. They need this to rap. Like, no, man, should be your scripture. It should become part of you. You should feel every word, right? Every part of the word, not the bar.
Yeah.
Every word that you put into your bar should be something that people can feel, something real, man.
Huge. And versatility is obviously a 5.
Hell yeah.
Authenticity.
Yeah.
I think without KRS-One, the culture suffers.
Yep.
I think with KRS-One, the culture is empowered.
It's empowered.
Yeah.
And man, I hope people go and check out KRS-One after this, if you watch this podcast.
Yeah, and I think because he is what powers a big part of the culture is in good shape as long as he's on this earth because he's loud about it.
Yep.
And he's unwavering.
Yep.
You don't get versions of KRS-One.
Yep.
There's only one version of KRS-One.
You know what? I hope he's somebody that's accessible for us, man.
Hopefully.
People like this need to be accessible because there's people like us out here that support what you're doing, and we have a similar, ideas and thoughts about way life should be and the way things should be, right? Because
we want to push the culture forward.
Hell yeah! I know people that are artists that are a couple of artists that I follow are doing stuff with youth, right, and starting youth programs, right? And this is something I've had opportunities to go into elementary schools and put on little hip hop workshops, right? And because I said it has these different opportunities for people to be good at something, right?
100%.
And that's the thing, right? There's a place for everybody in hip hop.
Well, and I think that's why we're important to this because I had the opportunity as well to work with Boys and Girls Club and do songwriting clinics and freestyle clinics and work with kids and help build some kind of a musical portfolio in their minds because music changes lives, right?
This is it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And if it's done the right way, you could really point somebody in the right direction.
Huge.
And that person could turn into the next person to really lead us and move us, right?
That's where it's at.
Too many times in music, we've lost people that carried a message that really could have changed and affected the world, man.
100%.
From all genres of music, you know, we've lost people that were really impactful, you know, whether it was by tragic circumstance or they were murdered or whatever, right? Like it's really, 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 you know, sad that, you know, we haven't had somebody, you know, that's kind of done that for us, right?
So for,
you know, that hip hop.
Yeah, so for authenticity, obviously it's a 5, and we want to create a standard for this, right? And so when we say authenticity, we mean the stuff that you say in your raps. Is that what you are about?
Hell yeah,
you know. So, and we're gonna come across some artists that are not authentic,
dude,
and they're gonna get hit with a stick when it comes to this.
Yes.
I was talking to my kid about Rick Ross.
Okay.
How he took the identity of a real Rick Ross and made it his own.
I can't take that guy seriously. Sometimes he'll pop because I'll play random stuff, right?
Yeah.
And like random playlists, and he'll pop up and I just think about chicken wings. That's it. Every time I think about him, I just think about chicken wings.
The correction officer, that's a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. But so authenticity is gonna matter.
Yeah.
And we're really gonna, you know, be savages to some
know,
people out there.
Yeah, because this is the thing, right? We talked about this in the first episode.
Yeah.
These are people we grew up listening to, and they influenced our lives.
In a massive
and
way.
like, you know, to find out that they're frauds and they're fakes, man, and they were just fooling us the whole time. Like, fuck, man, get out of here, man. Because you know what? That's the one thing the culture taught us is to be real and don't be fake.
Fakes. No fakes. Man. Bring
no
it real,
fakes, man.
That's what this represents to us.
Yeah.
So KRS-One being the standard bearer.
Hell yeah, KRS.
For what we consider is certified on point.
Look at the dress. He's a lion, man.
The most on point of MCs.
Hell yeah. He's certified.
50 from me.
And 50 from me.
50 from Queez.
That's $100 bill, y'all.
Gets the 100.
Yeah. Certified on point. I wish I had one of those
we can add it in. We'll add it in post.
Oh shit! Sorry guys.
Post production.
I just do my own shit.
So
you know?
so this is the jump off. Let us know if you want us to, you know, get into some artist catalogs and put them on the scale here. You could be a local artist. You could want us to do other artists that you think are dope and see what we think about it, because
we'll be nice. We'll be gentle.
No, we won't.
Okay. Well, yeah, you know, and yeah, I've got some artists out here that I think we should, you know, had some legitimacy and they were doing stuff, and let's put them out there, because you know what? Like, this is what, like, if you're okay, so like we know about hip hop is paying homage to the past, where the roots are. If you're from a city and you're rapping from that city, know who the other rappers are in that city.
For real.
You know, know who started it out, right? Know who the founding members were, right? I was going to say fathers. Let's say members, right?
And the people that put in work when there was no work.
Yeah.
That kind of started the work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because
there
there was
part of
nothing,
it,
man.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, one love to KRS One, the teacher. He taught me a lot, and yeah, man.
Big 100
God
for
bless.
KRS One.
God bless you.
But
KRS
like
One.
Wu-Tang said, protect your neck.
Yes.
Y'all better protect your neck, because there's going to be a lot that don't come close to the Master Blaster.
Yeah.
So we experienced serious tragedy in hip hop.
Yes.
Over the past few days.
I've been waiting since the day it happened to like come in and talk about it.
Yeah, it's
X.
Powerful.
How do you feel?
Oh man.
So first of all, okay, let's clarify. We haven't really talked, like, you know, this is a cool thing about it, because we kind of have our worksheet that we share we work, but we're not talking, and we're not scripting this, okay? This is not scripted. This is like freestyle podcasting, all right?
Yes.
You know, you catch me on the mic, catch me on the podcast, don't matter, man. It's all relative. So OD heart attack. OD COVID heart attack. What is it? What are you saying? What is your up-to-date fact checking research telling you?
So the most recent that I've seen is that it was heart attack, and that led to him not getting oxygen to the brain.
Okay.
Which would have caused permanent brain damage, regardless if he survived or not.
Yeah.
And then as he was in the vegetative state, he had multiple heart attacks.
Okay.
So it was almost impossible to survive.
Totally.
Yeah.
COVID related or drug related?
I heard COVID afterwards. I heard he got COVID afterwards and may have got a vaccine, and the vaccine. But again, it's so much hearsay, right? And the thing is, for me, when we have an icon like DMX pass, I
let him pass in peace.
Yeah, man. I want to remember what's glorious about X.
Why do every time a celebrity or somebody, you know, like, you know, does it have to be
Well,
like
and
this?
and someone that means something to us.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, I'll give an example. Like Philip, you remember Philip Seymour Hoffman?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
He died of an overdose.
Yep, yep.
Right. But when you look at headlines regarding Philip Seymour Hoffman, they're like, tragic ending for superstar actor.
Yeah.
Or Philip Seymour Hoffman,
Yeah.
long battle with his demons. But the only thing they talk about when it comes to X is the previous legal charges that he had or whatever else happened in his life before.
Baby mamas.
That's
that.
not what this is about.
This isn't about that, man.
We are here to remember
About the
DMX
music.
and why he's so magical. Why he's so
Gonna
majestic.
Give it to you. He gonna give it to you.
Ooh. And why that picture for me represents what
I
he
can
is.
hear you.
Right? And this
Oh,
is from
yeah.
this is from Woodstock.
Yeah.
And there was an ungodly number of people.
Look at how many people are there, man.
There's an ocean of people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you watch the video, it's
Oh,
nuts.
it's unbelievable. And Freddie Mercury did this thing for World Aid back in the 80s where he came in front of the crowd and he was like, "Ew."
Yeah.
And the crowd would go, "Ew."
Yeah.
And X did the same thing here.
Yeah.
But his was just, "Eh."
Yeah.
And the crowd is just yelling back and
Ah,
it just sounds like an ocean of noise.
It's insane. And you know what? I had the pleasure of going and seeing him live twice.
Which one did you go? You went to the
I
Hard
went
Knock
twice.
Live?
I went to Hard Knock Live,
Okay.
and then I went and saw him with some friends down at Key Arena. Key
Oh,
Arena
with Cash Money.
for the Cash Money
Oh,
Rough Riders
shit.
tour, which was sick. Oh man! So I've seen. I love DMX.
Yeah.
God rest his soul. I have a similar story. Involves addiction and drugs and music and so he's somebody I could relate to. I didn't listen to him much in the past or the recent past. But because he hasn't really put out anything, and his music's imprinted on my mind and memory. Like I feel it. Like I literally felt like a piece of me was missing that day. I did a post on Facebook because he was our Tupac, right?
Yeah.
And per se, right? Like I was talking to my good friend of mine that we went to the show with, and we weren't really like Tupac. Tupac was already out before us. Before we got into hip hop, he had already established as an artist.
Tupacalypse
he
Now,
had
Strictly for My
movies.
Ends,
He had a bunch of stuff, right? So we kind of got introduced to him later on. Where DMX was, we saw him.
From Inception.
Yes, from Inception.
Yeah.
And his voice, his music, his message, his what he stood for. Man, I was able to relate.
Do you remember the first time you actually heard a DMX song? What it was?
Oh, wow. Probably, what was it? Y'all Gonna Make Me Lose My Mind? Up in Here? No, what was his
that was
first
the
track? What was his first single? X
jump
Give It
off
To You?
was Get At Me Dog.
Oh, Get At Me Dog. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
That was the first single.
Get At Me Dog.
Black and white video.
Yes.
And
And that was his introduction, and there was black and white,
Scary as
Yonkers, Timbos, and
Yeah.
baggy clothes.
Yes,
You know,
pit bulls in the video.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
this was something new to us.
Wild man.
Yeah.
Well, and I think because the West Coast was real chill, laid back. Cube was popping off at this time. Ice Cube
East Coast was about
grimy and gruff.
Yeah,
and I think Ice Cube set the tone for the 90s for hip hop in the West Coast.
Yep.
It was really laid back and chill. You know how we do it, kind of transformed the landscape for
this
West
is
Coast
true,
hip hop.
right? Yeah, it
so
became that
and,
G-Funk ride.
yeah, and X was the polar opposite.
Yeah.
Grimy, dirty, angry.
Yeah.
Everything was aggression. So I remember when I first saw this video, I'm like, what the fuck is this? This guy
Yeah.
looks like a lunatic.
Yeah.
Because it was angry.
Yeah.
And I think because he was so real about it, you just couldn't help but watch.
I've seen lots of commentary and feeds and people talking about him and talking about his lines and this and that, and he said this and he said that. Well, what was so bad about this line that he said that your favorite artist isn't saying worse today, right?
For sure.
And the context, like you can't just take somebody's one line, like stop doing that kind of stuff, man. Like if you're gonna talk about somebody, talk about them in their entirety, right? Because he had like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many albums did he have, right? And he stood for something.
For sure.
And he was trying to create a movement, right?
100%.
And unfortunately, God had different plans for him, right? And he didn't get to achieve that, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could go back and listen
20
to
million,
a whole bunch of people's lyrics.
30
and
million, 40 million,
70
million, bro.
70 million worldwide.
Yeah. How much his first album was like 20, I think.
So he set the record for the most #1 albums for an artist from his first album. So he dropped 5 albums
Hell yeah.
in a row
Yes.
that were number 1
Yeah.
on the Billboard, and 2 in 1 year.
Crazy.
Phenomenal.
Crazy.
So
What was your favorite album?
Oh, it's Dark and Hell is Hot.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure.
I like Flesh of My Flesh. Blah, blah, blah,
Great
blah, is
fucking
so-
album.
Oh, I really like that. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so a part of me when I listen to DMX, I feel like because the music is so high energy and so
Yeah.
amped up, I feel like I'm gonna chase.
Did you follow all of his albums like so Great Depression and stuff like that?
Yeah. I listen to all that.
He kind of he changed the
Yeah.
intensity wasn't so much
For sure, for sure.
the years,
Yeah.
right? So he came in blazing.
Yeah.
And then I think like once he kind of hit that. You can hear it in his music. Something else was going on in that.
Yeah, and
lost that steam,
he was getting
you know?
more into the religious stuff and
Yeah.
and more godly work. And I think, when your living circumstances change, the hunger changes.
Yes,
right?
this
So
is true.
I think the music that he was putting out suited where he was in his life
So
at the
so
time.
do you think change is inevitable then?
100%.
Okay.
100%. But I think you have to be changing as a person to keep up with what the change is.
Because
right?
I look at him and stuff, right? Like, and I see him like, oh man, when he came out, like quads and motorcycle
Yeah.
culture and
the
that
big leathers
all
and
came out and stuff,
so
right?
fly.
And Swiss Beats
Yeah.
and Jadakiss
Yeah.
and all these guys. Like
Yep.
he put on a lot of people, right?
set the stage.
Yeah, and a
Sure.
lot of those people are like still relevant
For
in
sure,
hip hop,
still
man.
poppin'.
And like so DMX he had a big place in my love for hip hop. Taught me a lot and listened to him, and like I said, he was like our Tupac, and
Sure.
I really
Sure.
think if he was given that opportunity, he could have really done something really amazing. But he fell into addiction, right? And I saw a little bit about his story about him falling into addiction and how he got introduced to it, and it's very similar to my story.
Scary, man.
Is by a friend, somebody he trusted, right? And
Fucked him.
and then he got fucked over, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it sucks, right? And so I can only imagine what he went through to be that person.
Living with
Because
that
I
pain.
went through my addiction when we were doing OPC.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so I like basically walked away from an opportunity, man. We were gonna go somewhere and we
Yeah.
were gonna do something amazing, right?
yeah.
And addiction grabbed me and said, hey, no.
That's-
I gotta
that's
take
how
you
life
over
works,
here,
man.
right?
That's how
But
life
you know
works.
what? I got through it, and that's
Overcome.
my music. That's my message today, right? Like
Yeah.
I talk about these life experiences because I don't want anybody to go through these things, right? And that's what these artists taught me, right?
Authenticity, for
You know,
sure.
was to have that, right?
Yeah.
Like and it's sad. It's unfortunate, man.
Well,
X
and
gonna give
one-
it to
one
you, man.
real
Earl Simmons.
One real underappreciated part of DMX's creativity was what he did on screen.
Oh, yeah.
Because dude, this guy on screen is magic.
He was amazing.
From the time he stepped
What was
on
your favorite movie?
Oh, Belly.
Belly, yeah. I was gonna
Dude.
talk about Belly. Romeo Must Die.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Belly, just thinking
Yeah.
about. Okay, so here's the thing with me and Belly. The
such a
movie
good
itself,
movie. Oh my
the movie,
God.
it's like I'm a big movie critic,
Oh
big
my
cinephile.
God.
I love
Amazing.
movies.
So good.
So the movie itself,
cinematography is amazing.
that's what it was. Hype Williams,
Amazing.
dude. Hype Williams' eye is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But here's the thing for me, I didn't really. You can hate me for this, but
Yeah.
the movie, I don't really care for the movie itself too much. The story is kind of writing is kind of but the visuals of the movie
Crazy.
But you gotta understand, I'm comparing it to some gems like
Yeah.
Boys in the Hood,
Yeah.
Menace, and all these great standard bearing
This was
movies.
Belly was the first kind of East Coast movie that was
Yeah.
like those movies,
Exactly.
right? So yeah, that was
and it
for
looks
us,
sexy and
yeah, and I think
Jeez.
that's what East Coast was
That's what it
about,
was.
right?
That's what it was.
And so we got to see the other side, right?
Yeah,
good
and I mean,
movie.
he did that, and then he did, he had Exit Wounds,
Yeah, Exit
Romeo
Wounds,
Must
Romeo
Die,
Must
all
Die,
these
yep.
great movies.
Yep.
And I came across an unbelievable skit that I totally forgot about from Mad TV days. And Ari Spears does a phenomenal DMX impression.
I wonder if you were talking about this earlier, and I'm like trying to go through my
It's-
catalog
yeah.
of memories and see if I remember that.
It's one of those things that's hard to pinpoint, man.
yeah.
Because Ari Spears' impression is bang on.
Okay.
He's dude, he freestyles as DMX.
Yes.
And then he'll switch to Jay and
Oh,
switch. Ari
he's
Spears
amazing,
is
yeah.
high level. But so there's an episode of Mad TV, y'all gotta check this out, where Ari Spears is playing DMX's mom.
Okay.
And DMX is coming to his mom for love advice. So DMX is, and the reason I bring the story up, obviously the skit's brilliant, but okay, so imagine being DMX in this situation, and a comedian is dressed up like a woman, impersonating your mom, doing your voice to you. I don't know how DMX was able to keep a straight face.
I wouldn't
at
be able
all.
to. No way.
And then at the same
I'd be cracking
time,
up.
DMX had to like, yo, ma. You got to tell me how to talk to this girl. Yeah, I want to love this girl. I want to be soft. I want to love. And Aries Spears like, you can't love. You're not a bitch. And like, so this thing is going on, and I'm busting out laughing.
Yeah.
And DMX is like composed and in the moment. And I think one thing we really missed out on is how amazing of an actor he could have been.
I bet.
He could have been a massive actor.
Yeah,
and I think this is the Pac part.
Yeah.
I think this is the Pac link that everyone tries to make.
Yeah.
Because Pac was obviously a great actor on screen, great on audio.
Yeah.
And X had that thing.
This and that's why I was saying, like, we never got to see what Pac was gonna do.
Yeah.
You know, like we
Cut
never
short.
got, you know, and we never got to see what he was gonna do, right?
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
other things were at play and other things happened, right? And life happened and stuff, right? So because he was able to touch on so many different levels, musically, visually, right? Like, you know, and then you just talked about, you know, in later albums, he started moving towards like, you know, more spiritual, you know, rap and stuff, right? And I think that should be the evolution of somebody, right?
sure.
That, you know, whether if they do it in one kind of category or they do it in multiple categories, they should move towards something, right?
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
And I think one of the things I want to really reinforce when we talk about X is go look at the things that make him unique. Like, he did this version of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You haven't seen this yet?
No, I don't know.
Oh,
No,
my
I don't know.
God. So they're in this room, and this girl goes, you do Christmas carols? And he's kind of like, and then he's like, I'll do it. And he breaks off into his own rendition of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Like, and it's completely different than the Rudolph song?
Well, I mean, it's the song, but done by DMX.
Okay.
I'm telling you, if this guy put out a Christmas album, it would have been the biggest Christmas album in the history of music. Would have put Mariah Carey to shame. Because everything he says is coming straight from his spirit.
Yeah.
And it's so a part of who he is. There's just no separation. Like,
awesome, man.
Everything he does is real.
Hell yeah.
Everything he does is
real. Realer than real, man.
Yeah, there's no separation from DMX and Earl. He's just DMX.
Yep.
And that's a beautiful thing to see someone so authentic. And everything I want to, reinforce about this guy is how incredibly powerful he was.
Oh yeah, like look, he could just capture your attention. I went and seen
Just
him
him and a
live.
mic.
I drove, I didn't drive
To a different
crazy
country.
far, but like 3 hours.
Drove to another country.
Yeah, to another country to go see him rap, right? And but and I still.
What is that?
Something's happening. Oh, this is the.
Hold on, give it a sec. That's him slapping a table.
Okay. There you go, DMX. DMX. Gia.
Dude.
DMX.
When have you heard a Christmas Carol sound so damn good?
I liked it, man.
I would
really liked it,
bump that
DMX.
Christmas album.
I didn't know what was going on for a second.
Come on.
I thought my dog had broken out and like was just barking at us or something. So, anyways, but X. Well, that's the thing, man. X, yeah, he'll forever live on as a hip hop legend. He'll live on in our hearts. One love to DMX, man. And you're a better place now, brother.
Yeah, I think it's only appropriate that we end the On Point podcast with a moment of silence for X. I'm Alite, A-L-I-T-E. Queezi beside me. It's X, y'all. Peace. Golden.
That was a good one, man.
And I'm going to just drop that.
Super tight. Super game tight.
Dope. Dude, how dope is that Rudolph? Oh my God. Way too fly, man.
You'll go to any